It's the touchpad. Okay,
It's,
the cord's got to be on the opposite end that it was last time. I'm
yeah.
good.
But hey, I'm glad we did those first ones. We could see what the problem that there was an issue, and now we got everything going good again.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it. You're a good man.
Hey, I was just working out the bugs.
Well, I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for
Hey,
all your help with my story.
yeah, and
Out there to save a lot of lives.
I, I, I
Al, between me, you, and the doorknob, if we could get our hands just on the cancer patient, autistic patients, and the AIDS patients, dude, you'd have this fight already won.
you would, yeah. I know I do have some an autism question or two for you on Sunday as well,
Sounds good.
so that we can talk about that. I had talked to you once before about doing an interview for a Pride group session that I was involved with last year. I was hoping I was going to do it again this year, but they decided not to ask us to come back. They wanted to. It wasn't that we did anything wrong, but they only had like four areas that they wanted to cover, and they wanted to get instead of just advocates, they wanted to get the people that were high up type thing,
Oh, really?
administrators or something to talk instead.
Yeah. Oh, well, it
Yeah,
was worth a shot. That's all we can do is just keep going out there and trying.
that's
I do
right.
that everywhere I go. You
Yeah.
would be surprised where I talk to people in grocery stores,
Oh
in
yeah,
parks, churches. And the one that really kills everybody, my daughter took palms this 2 years ago. I was in the auditorium during one of her concerts. I was talking to everybody around me. They were asking me, "Oh, do you have cancer?" "Oh, yeah." That's my lead in. You ask. You asked.
that's right.
I got to tell you the truth because I'm not going to lie to you like the
No,
government. And I do, and I'm out there. Do you know how many lives I've saved just since I started talking lightly 2 years ago? Are you ready for this? Over 700 lives already. Over 700. That's
really.
not much. That's not much yet. I want to save 2.5 million a year. That's my goal.
And
My
that's everybody.
Everybody with cancer.
Everybody with cancer.
And then I want to save the rest.
Yeah,
If I can just start with the ones with cancer, that's 2.5 million. If I get all the ones with autism, that's another 10 million. Dude, the government ain't got a chance. We, the autism community, has shut the government down twice. We are good.
that's
We
good.
taught them how to do that. It's very, very easy. Um, I just said, hey, you guys, we're going to shut them down. Call them, fax them, email them. If you have a last name that begins with this, it's your day. You're going to use it. And we made everybody take 2 days a week where they did nothing but one fax, one email, and one phone call twice a week.
Yeah,
Okay, and that was one each time because each time only lasted 2 to 3 days before we stopped because they called uncle.
yeah, okay.
So we effectively shut them down. They
Shut
couldn't
them
get
down.
nothing
You're
back, get
saying
anything else done.
if you can prove them right, or the benefits of it, something like that. They'll just shut everything down.
That's they do that. They don't like people. They don't have interest in a big way. Shut them down. You get their attention, and then they'll call
That's
uncle,
right.
and because they can't afford you to keep shutting them down. They got other things to do. And that's the truth. Swear to God, we've done it with
Yeah.
autism. You won't go for it because there's no reason this
It's
is even a
ridiculous,
law to
especially
begin
when the
with, in my
government,
eyes.
when the U.S. government right at their own website says that I'm there right now. The medical use of marijuana is controversial, yet THC is legal. Okay, and THC has been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, for the following medical purpose. Yeah,
Yep,
so
that's on my
how can they
website.
say that it doesn't work yet?
I know. That's why it's on my website. Wait a minute,
Yeah,
guys. You said this way back when, and you still saying it, and
yeah,
you're
but
They're trying to make a law. The thing is, you guys, and I know some people don't believe this, but this is why I was sent back. One of the reasons, is this is more a thing against God than it is against that poor little plant, just telling you. Because it's the holiest plant known to God. That mistranslation, I've got those, 3 or 4 pages that proves even which page that proves that it was a mistranslation, and it shows exactly which book it came from and everything. So I don't want to hear all of their mumbo jumbo that this isn't holy. If it wasn't holy, why am I alive? It's the only thing that can grant life over death. Period. On whatever, pretty much.
And you're walking proof of that.
Well, and I've seen it cure. Okay, nobody can cure a right brain stroke. Not a right brain. That takes your heart, your lung, and everything. I have seen a right brain stroke reversed in one dose. One dose of oil. One dose. My father. It saved his life.
Wow.
Okay, I have seen it cure epilepsy. I've seen it cure epilepsy. My oldest daughter. She was just a little toddler, and she had 27 seizures in 8 minutes flat, and her doctor knew he was the one who got me into the study. He knew I was on it. He says, there's been studies. He goes, blow some in your daughter's face. He had me do that for 2 months. She was cured.
Really?
She's never had a seizure since. Absolutely. My youngest daughter had autism.
We have an advocate up here.
Autism.
We have an advocate up here by the name of Russell Barth, and his wife Christina Lau, she has epilepsy, and she was having seizures constantly, and now that she uses cannabis, those have been reduced down to single digits, like 1 or 2 maybe, instead of.
The longer she stays on it, the better she's going to get.
The last I knew, Russell had posted that just over 1 million people had viewed the video of his wife having an epileptic seizure and them dealing with it with cannabis. Yeah.
Good. Good, because it's amazing. It literally cured my daughter, but she was young and just starting out. She had her first seizure at 10 days old, if I remember right. It was back some years ago. But I believe it was 10 days old, and I believe she was just a few years old when they cured her. They had overdosed her on her epileptic medicine. They had overdosed her on phenobarbital and on Dilatin. The last one they had her on was Dilatin, and they had just overdosed her again. And she was just going right in and out and in and out and in and out. I was so terrified. I couldn't even drive. I had to have my dad come get me so I could keep an eye on her, just her safe on the way, and that's when the doctor says, hey, let's do an intervention. I know it works. Yeah. You're legal. It's a life. And, and I have to still say, I've actually talked to him within the past year and thanked him for saving my life and my children, because if it wouldn't have been for him, my oldest would have still had grand mal and petit mal seizures. And my youngest would have autism. She would have early infantile autism. Now look at her. She's barely affected. She doesn't have to take it anymore, ever. And genius, oh wow, she's just like me, child prodigy. She has made educational history. The first child in the United States last year was advanced from middle school to high school. They've advanced them from middle school to middle school or high school to high school. There's never, ever been a precedence set for middle school to high school. My daughter said it last year.
With autism, and now
she was profound and nonverbal with early infantile autism, the rarest form of autism. Only 10% of all people with autism fit into that rare category.
That's quite the achievement. That's Just,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is for her. She's a very courageous little girl. I'm so proud of her. Everybody says, where do you get your strength
Yeah.
and courage? My children. Thank God, that's it.
Yeah. But,
You know, making a difference, that's where it's at, man. That's just, I've been the U.S. Autism Ambassador for, well, going on 13, 12 years now, and it's about making a difference. Nobody pays me to do that. I donated all my time. I raise all my own money to go to Washington so nobody
right.
can ever say I'm paid off. I do that from my heart because I
Unlike
do
the
care about
pharmaceutical
the people.
company, they can't find any researchers that are doing independent. It's all covered by a pharmaceutical company someplace. Yeah,
Well, and that's it. And your pharmaceutical companies don't want to touch it for something you can grow in your own backyard, but they'd rather control it so
that's
you
right.
can't. Which, back in a day, there was a comment made by Mr. Rothschild, as a matter of fact, who sort of, between him and Kennedy and some of these other fellas, own our medical community. He said, let's make them believe that we're trying to help them, but honestly,
It's
we won't. Now, if you go back to John the Baptist in the Bible, where he, in Revelation, says to beware of the sorcerers and witches and stuff like that. Well, but if you look up the true meaning back in their day, not by the misconception that was interlaid with the witch trials,
right.
that it was pagan and Wiccan, because it did
That's
not
the first
mean
thing that
that
came
in
to my
John the
mind.
Baptist time. It actually meant pharmaceutical. Yeah, pharmaceutical physicians is what it stood for. So John the Baptist was warning you about our medical community snake oil. Now, in fact, in truth, have they
No,
cured one thing? No,
they
they
don't
can't
want
even
to.
cure
They
a
don't.
common cold or a flu.
No.
They can't. But God's herbs can. Echinacea will cure a common cold and flu. It'll burn it right out of your system. And if it is one of those really nasty ones like H1N1, no big deal. Just add in a little bit of I can't think of the name of it.
No.
It's just another herb, one of God's. Okay, and it'll cure it. It cured my H1N1. Okay, so let me tell you, there is nothing you can't do with God's medicine. You don't need that stuff. Do you know how often I
As
get
far as
sick?
like,
Once in
if
a
you
very
mean
great
sick, you
while,
mean
and
like
it's only,
when you mean
yeah,
sick, you
wait,
mean
wait.
like having a flu or a cold. Uh,
I don't even get them hardly ever. But like when I fell,
right.
it kind of messed everything up. And so I got really down and depleted. Now, yeah, my oil is too busy concentrated curing my
Right.
cancer to worry about my flu.
Uh,
So, yeah, I kind of got nailed. But otherwise, I don't even get sick. If I don't do something
right.
stupid like fall and burst a cyst, whatever, then I don't. I don't get colds or flus
Wow.
or anything like that because it covers me. It takes the worst. The interesting thing about cannabis is it innately knows what's the
Yeah.
worst and it tackles it first. Its main goal, from what I have noticed in 32 years, is to put you back on your feet first, to
Yeah.
sustain your life while doing that, and then bring you back. That is what it's all about. And then it brings you back. It's sort of like bringing you from the
Right.
lightness
Yeah.
or the darkness to the light, literally, and that's it. And it, like I said, it has been um,
Yeah.
my breath. I owe God and cannabis my whole life. I would not have been able to raise my children without it, point blank. I'd have been dead, and how can I feel bad about that? For many years, they made me feel guilty.
Just a minute.
The people.